Finn. I promised that in the new year I would do a catch-up to the video that Drew and I did together, talking about his coming out as trans and beginning to transition. So yeah, this is my video about my reaction to it all. I'm honest in all my videos, I'm going to be honest in all of these. I have Drew's permission to talk about this, and there's nothing I'm saying in these videos that I haven't already said to him. I might a lot and be a bit all over the place because this is massive and I'm trying to get my head around it all. On the surface, some people have even said this, it's just label. No, it's not. This is incredibly complex. There we go. So yeah, this is probably one of a lot of videos I'm going to do about this, so hopefully over a series of videos my feelings will make sense, but I want to document how it is for me. Well, I'm glad he's out, because it's been very difficult over the last couple of years with him questioning stuff. Basically, as soon as I came out, he was kind of relating to what I was saying. But he was relating kind of in the way of, hadn't really thought about gender being so massive a spectrum before. You know, he'd been kind of force-fed the kind of gender binary of male, female, end of, and my exploring opened up a whole new world for him, and my coming out made him question his identity in terms of, okay, I'm no longer supposed to kind of identify as lesbian, how do I see myself, all of that. So I opened up a can of worms for him, basically, and I'm aware of that. Guilty. But I don't know, I always kind of thought that he was kind of along the gender queer spectrum. And from right at the get-go, when he was kind of asking me for advice, I flatly refused to give any advice because I knew how painful this decision is. And if I turned round to Drew at any point and said, well, if you transition, I can't do this, it would affect him, and I needed him to make whatever decision he was going to make for him without me influencing in any way whatsoever. So my response was always, you know, I'd happily discuss the way I'd felt, I'd send him links, give him links of places I found useful, I'd give him links to forums to go and chat to people. But in terms of him asking me how I would feel if he did transition, I always refused to answer that. I wanted to remain completely neutral so that I didn't influence him to transition or influence him not to transition. So I guess what I've done to his favour, probably, and a bit of my detriment, is I kind of blanked any thinking of him coming out. I put it to one side until he'd made a firm decision. But saying that, it has been hard. I've got a couple of really good friends who I've been able to talk to about this, but in terms of everything else I've had to keep it really quiet, which at times has been really, really hard. So yeah, I am relieved he's out. But all of this kind of parking how I feel about it until he made a decision, it's just kind of now hit me, because of course I wasn't in denial. I think there was always some part of me that knew eventually he was going to make this decision to transition, but because I hadn't allowed myself to kind of process how that might be for me, it's now just gone bang. And over Christmas it just made me feel really, really sad. And watching him come out to his family was quite hard, and seeing his mum get upset, that was quite hard, and I could feel that. But for some reason it was Drew telling my mum that affected me the most. And I think that's because, well, I don't know why it was really. I think it just really brought it home. Both my mum and her carer were kind of saying things like, oh, but you know, you're such a lovely couple as you are, and you've come through so much, and Drew, you're so pretty as a girl, all that stuff that really isn't useful, you cringe at. But at the same time, that made me kind of just feel really sad. You know, it is said that loved ones of people that transition go through this grieving process, and I'm definitely relating to that. I feel better now than I did at Christmas. I feel a lot more balanced and not so kind of heart-wrenched about the whole thing. But Christmas was hard, it was. it's weird as well, because trying to allow myself to feel this and to share it with Drew is quite hard, because of course he went through all this with me. I watched him when I first came out be incredibly sad that he was going to lose this girlfriend that he'd had, and the whole relationship was going to change. And I felt so guilty about causing him that sadness. And now it's the other way. So he's feeling guilty because I'm sad, but then I'm also feeling guilty because I already put him through that guilt. So I feel I can't have these feelings because I already put him through all of this anyway. So it's kind of like, well, now I know how it feels. But of course that's ridiculous. You know, he was warranted his feelings when I was coming out, and I'm warranted my feelings, and if we are going to survive this, then I've got to express that in the same way as when I was coming out, he had to express that. So yeah, it's just this big kind of constant kind of bubbling stream of water at the moment, that sometimes it's just like a little thing, and other times these great crashing waves. What does this mean to us? And there's conceptual level, and there's like real physical level that actually going to affect us physically, mentally, emotionally, and it's just ginormous. And I've had a couple of people say, well, it's just a label at the end of the day. It's not just a label. It really isn't just a label. Everything changes. I mean, in terms of who he is, he's exactly the same person currently. He's always dressed very masculine. That's not changed. And until he goes on hormones, the only thing that does change is the conceptual basis of our relationship, that we are now two gay men. And he's he and he's Drew, rather than she and his birth name. But then, I don't even know where to start. It's just everything else, because then, of course, when our physical intimacy is kind of transitioned from what it was when we were first as a lesbian couple, and then as we moved into me transitioning, we became heterosexual, although I don't see myself as heterosexual, I don't see myself as straight, gay or anything really, that's a whole other video. But of course, that's nothing to think about. I'm about to embark on lower surgery. As blunt, I can't put it any other way than saying I want to be able to use my penis. I'm going to get myself a penis, I want to be able to use it. So it's kind of like, if that changes, then we've got other things to work through. Oh, I really don't know. There's just so much. And actually when I start thinking about it, my head just starts playing like the Twilight Zone theme tune. It's just one day at a time. There are two things I know that I keep saying, I keep hanging on to. One is that I absolutely love the pants off this guy, and two, I ain't going anywhere unless I really have to. So, you know, my full intent and full heart is in making this work, and it's just going to have to be a very much day at a time process. We're very, very close, and I'm very, very blessed, speaking for just me, that we have this relationship, that we're able to really talk honestly and openly, and we both really respect, hello sweetheart, we both really respect each other's individual journey. We have consideration for each other, but at the end of the day we realise we're two people on our own individual paths that are sharing those together, and if that stops working for either of us, we're going to be honest about that and walk away. But that's never changed, that was always the deal. So it is one day at a time. But what am I sad about? What is it that's getting to me? I guess I'm tired. It's just been such a long haul going through this, and I've got surgery coming up and all of that to deal with. But I'm at a good place at the moment where, you know, I'm settled in myself, and we were settled. And so now it's all going to go up in the air again. Our whole dynamic's going to change, and it's only just settling down from when it changed already. And I guess that's a big thing that scares me as well, and that makes me sad, is that we're all going to be in upheaval again. I also like having a girlfriend. I like not being... Of course I'm different because I'm transgender. And I'm also very out about the fact that I'm trans. I'm not stealth at all. But the fact is now I can be read consistently as male, and I don't have to out myself constantly. It is at my choice now when I want to out myself. You know, some days I'm very out there about who I am, and sometimes I'm quieter about it. And it's lovely to have that choice. I've been visible all my life, whether as a lesbian and being shouted dyke in the street, or as I grew towards my transition and became more androgynous, being called he, she, and all of that, and Bob. And it wasn't until, again I'm going to have incessant chewing, it wasn't until testosterone did its business and I became invisible that I realised what everyone else takes for granted, what most people take for granted, in being able to walk down the street without being harassed, and that's lovely. And I guess what really upsets me is being visible again, not just for me, for both of us. You know, we can walk down the street hand in hand now and nobody bats an eyelid, but it's going to go back to, again, as a male, as two males in the street, the likelihood is we're going to get abuse again. So it's that that's upsetting me as well. It's a lot of it. I mean, this is just purely, it's selfish, but it needs to be said, you know, these feelings are valid. As I say, you know, all the changes we've gone through with testosterone changing the way we talk to each other, our dynamic, that's all going to change again when he begins testosterone therapy. And I guess I'm scared that, can we survive it? Isn't this a lot to ask for a couple? We're working really hard to make it work now, but this is just another massive change on top of it, and can we do it? I don't know. So these are all my fears, but I have to say they're a lot less than they were before and during Christmas. I think him being out now and settling into it it's a, but it is just one day at a time. On the other side though, I am starting to feel excited for him and for me. You know, it is an amazing journey, and what I'm about these days really is growing and learning, and that everything that comes to you, even if it doesn't feel it at a time, is a gift to help that growth even more, you know. So how incredible is this, that I not only kind of have been through this and have seen a partner go through it and understand that, but now I'm actually going to become that partner. So Drew and I are going to have this incredible closeness that it's not just like guessing how the other one feels, we've actually both been in each other's position. So this could bring us even closer together, and you know, it looks like we were just completely made for each other, sent each other for a reason for this, you know. So that's the other side, and I'm able to see both now. I really am, but I'm not going to sit here and deny that at the same time. It's just, a big part of me is like, I just want things to stay the same. Of course I do, you know, that's common. Change is really, really hard, and I think everybody would quite happily stay the same if it was easier. But I'm sure that as time goes on, you know, there's going to be a lot of gains from this. Just watching him be happy, and even though it's scary for him at the moment, seeing the early signs of just knowing that he's on the right path, it's starting to kind of shine in his face, and that's lovely to see. So yeah, I don't know, there's probably a lot of things I want to say, but I just wanted to make a start and say something to the tune of Gerbil's chewing. Good timing. So yeah, as you can hear, see, I'm still a bit about all this. The amazing thing is that since making that video and since putting some stuff on a forum, I'm over 40, so I get to use an over 40 forum, so I'm using that as my kind of private one away from Drew, because although I do tell him everything, it's nice to be able to kind of vent sometimes without having to censor it. So on that forum, and by sharing this video, there's a lot of people that have got in touch that are in the same situation, and I actually thought it was pretty rare. But it's actually a lot more common than I thought, which is good to know, and it's good to see that other people have gone or are going through it and are doing okay. Yeah, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So yeah, I'm just going to leave it there, just so I've said something about it, so you know I'm still here, and we're still alright. We are. He's in Exeter today. discussing hormones. He's been very sensible about it, and because it's a lot quicker for him, I'll just say this quickly. There was one thing that I'm having happen that he's aware of as well. Huge resentment about the fact that it's a lot more straightforward now than it was when I began transition. I had to wait 15 months in total from my very first doctor's visit to my jab in my ass, whereas, you know, he's in a position of being referred to the doctor already, and if he goes quick enough, he could be on testosterone by April, May. Which is just crazy, and it's hard not to get resentful about that. But I'm glad that it's quicker for people these days. Nobody should suffer the pain of waiting a long time. But I have to say, I'm quite glad that he's decided not to kind of really rush. He wants to take his time and give people more time to get used to it, which I really agree with and I'm really grateful for, because I think making sure that we've all got tight-knit support around all of us in this is a really good thing first. So yeah, I will keep you informed, obviously, and will keep you informed. He might be doing a channel, I don't know. He's a bit different to me in how he goes about dealing with stuff, so he might not want to put it out there, but I will drag him in with me from time to time anyway, and you know it's going. So yeah, stay tuned. I will update very soon. Thank you so much everyone for your support for both of us. I was absolutely blown away by all the comments on the last video. Absolutely blown away. Not just by people's responses, but by the depth of people's responses and by the thoughtfulness of people's responses. It's just amazing the support we have. So thank you very much from both of us. Update soon. Take care everybody. Bye bye.